The summer of 1858 settled over Mill Creek like a warm golden blanket, draping itself across the weathered rooftops and dusty streets with the gentle weight of contentment. The little frontier town lay cradled between rolling hills and whispering woods, where wheat fields shimmered under the noon sun like waves of honey-colored silk, and the air carried the faint perfume of pine resin and wild clover blossoms. Life there was quiet, predictable, and slow, ruled by the ancient rhythm of the land and the faithful ringing of the church bell on Sundays, calling the faithful to worship and reflection. Among the town's simple folk lived a boy named Eli Turner, 10 years old, barefoot and bright-eyed, with hair the color of summer straw and hands already roughened by the small chores expected of him on his father's modest farm. Eli's days passed in the innocent freedom of childhood, chasing grasshoppers through the tall grass behind the house, skipping smooth stones across the surface of the creek until they disappeared beneath the rippling water, and imagining faraway places beyond the distant hills that ringed his small world. He often wondered what lay beyond the dusty road that wound out of town, curving through the haze into mystery and possibility, leading to places he had only heard about in stories told by passing travelers. His father, Thomas Turner, was a stern but fair man who worked the land with calloused hands and an unwavering sense of duty. His mother, Sarah, kept their modest home with quiet grace, her gentle songs drifting through open windows on summer evenings. They were good people, rooted deeply in the soil of Mill Creek, content with their simple existence. But young Eli possessed something different, a restless curiosity, a hunger for knowledge that his parents could not quite understand but did not discourage. One hot afternoon, while the town dozed beneath the oppressive weight of the midday sun, and even the birds had fallen silent in the shade, the sound of wagon wheels broke the drowsy stillness. From somewhere beyond the bend in the road came the rhythmic clatter of iron-shod hooves against packed earth and the faint metallic chime of tools striking together with each jostle of the cart. Slowly, like a figure emerging from a dream, a stranger appeared upon the road. A weathered man riding a sturdy brown horse and leading a heavy wagon laden with hammers of various sizes, tongues blackened by years of use, chains that gleamed in the afternoon light, and anvils resting like sleeping giants beneath canvas covers. The wooden sign swaying from the side of the wagon, painted in simple black letters, read Jebediah Cole, Traveling Blacksmith, Quality Work at Fair Prices. The man looked as though he belonged to the road itself, as if he had been born traveling and would die the same way. His beard was silvered with age and streaked with the grey of wood ash, his skin bronzed by endless days under the sun and darkened by the soot of 1,000 forges. His eyes, grey as river stones smoothed by water, carried a calm strength that spoke of long journeys across lonely miles, of towns visited and left behind, of seasons witnessed from the seat of a wagon. His clothes were simple but worn with the pride of a craftsman, the practical garments of a man who shaped the world with his hands and asked for nothing more than honest pay for honest work. To the townsfolk of Mill Creek, he was merely a curiosity, the stranger of few words and strong arms who had come to ply his trade for a season before moving on to the next settlement. They greeted him with cautious politeness, as frontier people did with all strangers, maintaining a respectful distance while sizing him up with experienced eyes. But to young Eli Turner, he was something far greater, a glimpse of adventure incarnate, a bearer of knowledge from distant places, a living connection to the larger world that lived just beyond the edges of his own small existence. The boy watched the blacksmith with quiet fascination as he set up a temporary forge near the Turner family's weathered barn, carefully selecting flat ground and arranging his tools with the precision of long practice. With practiced efficiency, Jebediah Cole built his workspace. He constructed a simple shelter from canvas and wooden poles, stacked his coal in a neat pile protected from rain, and positioned his anvil on a sturdy oak stump that he tested with his fist for stability. Then he kindled his fire, nursing the flames with careful breaths and strategic placement of fuel until the air above the forge shimmered with waves of heat and the sharp, acrid smell of burning coal filled the valley, drifting on the afternoon breeze like incense from some ancient ritual. Each day thereafter, the ring of the blacksmith's hammer echoed through Mill Creek, clear and steady like a metallic heartbeat, marking time with its rhythmic song. The sound carried across fields and through open windows, becoming as much a part of the summer soundtrack as birdsong and the rustle of wheat. Eli began to linger near the forge, drawn by an irresistible magnetism, fascinated by the dancing sparks that flew like tiny stars when hammer met hot iron, mesmerized by the orange glow of metal heated to the point of malleability, captivated by the sight of unyielding iron softening under the kiss of fire and hardening again under the deliberate strike of the hammer. There was something almost magical in the transformation, the way raw, stubborn iron could be coaxed and shaped into tools that serve the hands of men, extending human capability beyond flesh and bone. At first, Eli simply watched from a respectful distance, standing in the shade of the barn with his hands clasped behind his back. But the blacksmith noticed the boy, as he noticed all things around him, and one morning he nodded toward a spot closer to the fire. "Come where you can see," he said, his voice rough as gravel but not unkind. It was the first time Jebediah Cole had spoken directly to him, and Eli's heart leaped with gratitude and excitement. From that day forward, Eli became the blacksmith's shadow and unofficial apprentice. He learned to work the bellows, pumping air into the forge with steady rhythm to maintain the proper temperature. He learned to recognize the colors of heated metal, the dull red that meant the iron was warming, the bright cherry red that signaled readiness, the dangerous white heat that required immediate action. He learned to hold the tongs properly, to position the iron on the anvil at the correct angle, and to anticipate the blacksmith's needs before being asked. In the company of the blacksmith, Eli learned more than the practical work of iron and fire. He learned patience, how true strength comes not from haste or force but from rhythm and careful attention to craft. He learned respect for the fire, that raw power must always be tempered by understanding and controlled by wisdom, or it becomes destruction rather than creation. And he learned humility, that true mastery lives in quiet consistency, not in boastful pride or loud proclamation. The blacksmith seldom spoke of himself or his past, yet his very silence carried profound meaning, as though his entire life story had been hammered into every anvil he had ever touched, folded into every horseshoe he had ever shaped, tempered into the steel of his character through decades of solitary work and constant movement. Between the strikes of hammer on anvil, during moments when the iron cooled or the fire needed tending, Jebediah would share fragments of wisdom. "Metal is honest," he told Eli one afternoon, examining a plow blade that needed straightening. "It doesn't lie or pretend. When it's ready to be worked, it shows you. When it's not, it resists." People could learn from that. Another time, while shaping a complex hinge, he observed, "Every piece has its nature. Your job isn't to fight it, but to understand it and guide it to its best form." As the days turned into weeks and the summer wore on, a gentle friendship grew between the boy and the wanderer. They shared their silences easily, the kind of comfortable silences that exist only between those who trust each other completely and feel no need to fill every moment with words. Eli began to see the man not as a mysterious stranger or simple tradesman, but as a guide and mentor, a teacher who used iron and flame as instruments to reveal deeper lessons about life itself, about persistence, about the value of craftsmanship, about the dignity of work well done. The boy brought the blacksmith cool water from the well during the hottest hours. The blacksmith, in turn, allowed Eli to strike the easier blows, guiding his small hands to find the proper angle and rhythm. Once, when Eli became frustrated with his clumsy attempts, Jebediah placed a weathered hand on the boy's shoulder. "I've been doing this for 40 years, he said quietly, "and I'm still learning. Be patient with yourself. Mastery is a journey, not a destination." But as summer drew to its inevitable close, as the wheat was harvested and the first hints of autumn began to touch the edges of the leaves, the blacksmith's stay in Mill Creek came to an end. The plows had all been mended, their blades straightened and sharpened. The horses had been newly shod, their hooves protected for the coming seasons. The tools had been repaired, gates rehung, wagon wheels reinforced, chains mended. The work was done thoroughly and well, as Jebediah Cole always left things. The road called him again with its siren song, as it always did, pulling him toward the next town, the next forge, the next chapter in his endless journey. One crisp morning, when the dew still clung to the grass like scattered diamonds and the air carried the first cool breath of approaching autumn, the blacksmith loaded his wagon with methodical care. He packed his tools in their accustomed places, secured the canvas covers, and checked the harness connections with the attention to detail that characterized everything he did. The fire in the forge had gone cold, its embers scattered and dead, and the air seemed emptier for the absence of its warmth, as if something vital had been taken from the world. Eli stood by the barn, his small heart heavy with an ache he could not name or fully understand. He watched the man tighten the reins and glance once more at the hills that framed the town, perhaps committing the view to memory as he had done in 100 other places. The boy wanted to speak, to say something meaningful, but words failed him. How could he express what these weeks had meant, how they had changed something fundamental within him? Before leaving, before climbing up to the wagon seat, Jebediah Cole paused. He reached into his cart and drew out a small iron horseshoe, one he had forged during Eli's first week of watching, polished smooth and shining faintly in the morning sunlight. He placed it in the boy's hand, a simple token perhaps, but heavy with meaning and promise. Keep working your hands, the blacksmith said, meeting Eli's eyes with that steady grey gaze. Keep learning. The world needs people who can make things, who can fix what's broken. He paused, then added quietly, You have the gift, boy. Don't waste it. When the wagon finally rolled away, its wheels stirring dust along the road, Eli stood long after it had vanished from sight, long after the sound of hooves had faded into silence. The horseshoe was warm in his palm, heated by his own grip. The air still echoed with the memory of hammer blows and the warmth of the forge, as if the sounds and sensations had been permanently etched into the fabric of that place. In that stillness, standing alone in the morning light, something within young Eli Turner changed. A quiet spark, kindled in the glow of another man's craft and fanned by genuine mentorship, began to burn with its own steady flame. Years passed with the relentless turning of seasons. The wheel of time rolled forward, carrying Eli from childhood to adolescence to manhood. He grew tall and strong, his shoulders broadening with labor, his hands developing the same capable strength he had admired in the traveling blacksmith. He worked his father's farm dutifully, but in every spare moment, he practiced the craft he had glimpsed that transformative summer. He built himself a small forge behind the barn, improvising tools when he couldn't afford proper ones, learning through trial and error, through failure and persistence. The boy became a man, his hands grown powerful and skilled, his back straight with the honest pride of labor and craftsmanship earned through dedication. And in the heart of Mill Creek, where the old Turner barn still stood, weathered but sturdy, the sound of a new hammer rose, sure, deliberate, and familiar to anyone who remembered that summer of 1858. Eli Turner had become the town's own blacksmith, fulfilling the promise that Jebediah Cole had recognized in a curious 10-year-old boy. Above his forge, in a place of honor, hung the same small horseshoe that had once been pressed into his small hand, now darkened by years but polished regularly, a talisman and reminder of where his journey had begun. Whenever he struck iron, sending sparks flying into the shadows of his workshop, the sound carried through the valley, not just the echo of his work, but the rhythm of a memory that had never faded. He often thought of the traveling craftsman, wondering where the road had taken him, whether he still wandered from town to town, whether he remembered a barefoot boy in a place called Mill Creek. Eli thought of the lessons that had shaped him, lessons he now passed on to his own apprentices, that life, like iron, must be faced with courage and molded with care. That strength comes not from inflexible hardness, but from balance and resilience. And that even a brief friendship, a temporary connection between souls, can forge and shape a person's character for an entire lifetime. He became known throughout the county for his reliability and skill. Farmers brought him their broken tools, knowing they would be returned better than new. Young couples commissioned him to forge elaborate gate hinges for their new homes. He made toys for children, practical implements for households, and once, a beautiful weather vane in the shape of a horse that still spun atop the church steeple, catching the wind and the light. And so, in the quiet forge of Mill Creek, as years accumulated and Eli's own beard began to show threads of grey, the legacy of a wandering blacksmith lived on, not through fame or fortune, not through monuments or written records, but through the steady hands of a man who once was a boy, and through the enduring bond between teacher and student, traveler and friend, between one generation and the next. For in the grand story of the land and its people, such moments are the sparks that keep the spirit of humanity glowing bright